Also, we had this great idea, which is where if they won't let us near the housewives, then we go after the husbands at BravoCon. So, so if they won't let us near the women, we'll go for the men. I like how I'm already talking like we have a restraining order.
I know.
We don't have one yet, but we might come home with one.
Yes.
Hi, this is Caitlin.
And this is Sharon.
And welcome to Real Housewives on Real Housewives, where we unravel housewives story threads and keep the tea flowing.
So chic.
Hold on to your family.
This week, we're digging into Melissa Gorga from Real Housewives of New Jersey, Season 13.
Our versus this week is Melissa versus Teresa. Now, just to let you know, we do have a Teresa episode on her own that you can go back and listen to, which holds the other half of the key to this episode. And then we also have a Louis episode that we really enjoyed.
Yeah.
We don't enjoy Louis, to be clear, just the Louis episode.
We just thought we did a really good job on that one.
We patted ourselves on the back for that one. Okay, so let's do a little background information on Melissa.
Melissa is 44 years old. She's so beautiful.
She's gorgeous.
She's like my favorite housewife. She is the owner of the Envy clothing store, and she has a hit song called On Display. And it's funny. So Caitlin and I listened to it, and Caitlin was singing it for like days after, which I couldn't even remember. Like you could have played it out, but like I have no clue what the song is.
I didn't know like any of the verses, but
I didn't even remember.
On display.
Yeah, see, I still can't even think of the chorus. So obviously Melissa is married to Joe, which is Teresa's brother. They've got 3 kids. Melissa joined the cast in season 3.
Ooh, see? The rule of threes.
Oh, yeah.
So let's do Melissa versus Teresa, which I think is like the subtitle of this entire show, like Real Housewives of New Jersey,
Yes.
Melissa versus Teresa. Like that's just sort of the theme of every single season, I think. Mm-hmm. So the background that I'm going to give to this. So Teresa's episode is where we discussed all the wedding, but the wedding still comes into play here. And we're going to kind of look at the parts that just directly affected Melissa. The background information on this is the episode's issue of Kissing Gate. Mm-hmm. We'll get into that a little bit more kind of with Danielle and Jennifer Aiden too. But there was a rumor that Melissa kissed some guy in the back of a car. Mm-hmm. Even as you say it, so
it's so stupid.
And the point was that nobody knew about this as far as we kind of knew out in our little universe version of where we live in Jersey here, our little area. But behind the scenes, Teresa had already known about it. Mm-hmm. Louis knew about it. We talked a little bit about this with Louis. He was kind of giddy to go tell Joe about it. So what happens is they tell Joe without Melissa present that she kissed this guy in the back of the car. And what is he going to do with that information? Mm-hmm. They sit on this information. And I think that Melissa thinks she's doing a good thing by not bringing it up. I mean, A, it affects her reputation.
Yeah.
But B, she's unhappy with the way that Teresa handled it, as is Joe. Mm-hmm. But they're trying to kind of not bring that to the forefront. Probably not to give the rumor more air.
Yeah.
And then also, I think, in a way to protect some of their family privacy. Mm-hmm. But the problem is I think that clouds everything of the whole season. They're mad at each other about this kissing gate. Yeah. And I think that maybe Teresa doesn't understand that that's why they're upset from their end. Mm-hmm. So they're going into the season feeling slighted. I think that's what's important to note from that. Joe and Melissa are starting the season feeling like their feelings are hurt because Teresa's holding this information over their head and brought it to them incorrectly. And so that sort of clouds the judgment on everything. Then we get into the wedding. Melissa's family's not invited. And also, Teresa does not make her a bridesmaid. We discuss all of that in the other episode. So let's talk a little bit about, we get to Ireland. We're done talking about the wedding for a minute because I know you and I are done talking about it.
I'm so sick of talking about her wedding.
It wasn't that great of a wedding.
Yeah.
We weren't even invited and we're tired of it. So imagine if you'd had to plan that.
I know.
How tired you'd be. So we get to Ireland, which is an amazing part of the season. Like that is such a beautiful trip. It's so fun to watch. Like just saying Ireland makes me happy because saying the wedding over and over was bringing us really down in the last recording, guys. We're feeling a little bummed out. So let's be in Ireland. Shamrocks, leprechauns, rainbows, pots of gold. But then we get on the bus. We can't enjoy Ireland because guess what? Someone invited Teresa there.
Yeah.
So on the bus, someone asks if the cousins were close, meaning Teresa and Melissa's kids.
Yeah. And then Teresa says something like, well, Antonia didn't go to something of her daughters.
Yes. Again, it's this tit for tat with Teresa.
Yeah. And, you know, she didn't really say it in like a super mean way, but she didn't need to say it at all.
Exactly.
It's like she could have just been like, she didn't say, hey, have they been going to every single event with each other? Or it's like, are they close? You could have said, yeah, they're close. Or, you know.
They love spending time together.
Yeah.
They're always have fun together. Like there's 8,000 other answers. Yeah. And so I get it because then Melissa's feelings are hurt and she's like, don't bring the cousins into this.
Yeah.
And the thing, I love what Melissa says. So first of all, she goes, you be that aunt. I'm not going to be that aunt. And I loved that because it was just such a like shut it down moment. It's where I always wish I could think that fast to say something like that. And she did it, which kudos, Melissa. But also when you look back at how Melissa handles her kids, okay, versus how Teresa handles her kids. And I'm not talking about the whole who's a better mother thing that they seem to love on New Jersey. Yeah. I'm just talking about like how they handle their family drama within the cousins. What we see from Melissa is do not let this affect your relationship with your cousin. She says it to Antonia when they're driving in the car and Antonia can't turn into the coffee place, which is like so relatable. Like, I just love that. But then on the flip side, what Teresa's doing is her kids are speaking out on their aunts and uncles. I feel like this is going to come out as real kind of not cool and kind of judgy.
I'll say it.
Teresa's prejudicing.
Yeah,
oh my God. It's like geodicing. She's prejudicing. Oh my God. Put that on a t-shirt right now. That's ours. Nobody take that.
Put on a dog bandana.
Dog bandanas. Yes. But she's prejudicing. I'm going to keep using that.
I like it.
Her kids against her brother and his wife.
Oh, she absolutely.
And so I don't like that because Melissa gets a lot of flack for everything. Yeah. And I think some of it's maybe okay, that makes sense. But what doesn't make sense is what she's at least showing on the show is how she's not making the kids upset. And I also think you see it because Teresa's kids are in the interviews saying those things. Because you could say, well, Melissa's just doing that for the show. But I have not heard one thing from her kids coming out against them. On the show, at least. Yeah,
and you could see, was it the housewarming party? There was some party where Teresa's daughters were there. Yeah, and Melissa goes up to them and tries to talk to them, and they are so cold to her.
It was
so awkward, and she had tears in her eyes. Like you could tell she cared about
in the bathroom.
Them. Yeah, she was trying to be a good aunt and connect with them, and it was horrible.
Yeah. And you could just tell there's this rift in the family. And again, whether or not the cousins personally feel it, Teresa's kids do. They've got their mom's back in this issue. So she's talking to the kids about it. They are a little bit older, but not enough that it should be a problem.
Yeah.
And they all have social media, but Melissa's kids aren't as pissed.
Just to play devil's advocate.
Yeah.
Do you think maybe it's because, okay, so their dad went to jail, got deported. Their mom went to jail. They're so much more defensive, I guess.
That's fair.
The situation, maybe.
I think that's fair.
Over anything related to their mom. But it does show, I think, where it really comes from, though, because the cousins did love each other. It's just the lack of maturity with Teresa.
Right.
See, Melissa's mature, so she can say, go
exactly. I think you're
stay
right.
Cousins. But Teresa's immature. She can't let them win on any level.
No,
it's like,
you're right.
You have to be on my side. Everyone has to hate them.
Yes. Yeah, and I think she kind of like creates that environment within her house. Like there always has to be we're a team versus whatever. And again, some of it, like you said, is not taking responsibility. It's always someone else's fault. It's always Joe's fault. It's always Melissa's fault. It's always Joe's kid's fault. It's like it's never Teresa going, I'm sorry, this is the part that I played in this.
Yeah.
But Melissa does say sometimes, this is the part I played in this. Like, I know she can be catty and kind of silly, but I just don't think she crosses a line the way Teresa crosses a line.
I do not see the same meanness.
And for the first thing for Melissa to say back, you be that aunt. I don't want to be that aunt. Not you be that mom. I don't want to be that mom.
Yeah.
Like she was thinking about her nieces and nephews even in her response. Like she was thinking about her being an aunt to her kids and vice versa.
Yeah.
And I think that's interesting.
That's a really good point.
And like she gets on the phone and just says to Joe, like, the Gorgas just do everything wrong. You know, and she said to Teresa, like, if you put me in your wedding, I don't know if she said it to her, or she said it in the interview, but she said, if you put me in your wedding, that would show our kids what commitment looks like. And what like commitment, not just commitment, but commitment to family looks like. Like it would have shown a love. It would have shown like a reciprocation of love. It would have maybe shown that for the first time, like Teresa accepted Melissa as part of her family. Mm-hmm. And I think that's why it's such a big deal that she didn't put her in the wedding. There's no acceptance there, no love.
And I feel like Teresa can't be mad about them not coming to the wedding because not coming to the wedding is, okay, it is such a bad thing. Like that is relationship ending, not coming to the wedding. But
absolutely.
At the same time, it's like not putting her in the wedding was relationship ending.
She started it.
She started it, yeah.
She started the ball rolling and she cut into them on every part of the way. Yeah. I think that leads like directly into, let's talk about the bridal shower.
Yeah.
Because that's the other reason that's maybe a big reason I wouldn't have gone if I was Melissa.
You know what? I always wear white dresses just in case I have a surprise bridal shower.
Yeah, what was that about? I mean, I just felt like it wasn't a surprise, I guess. Like, and honestly, she's kind of like a control freak, I think, so that makes sense. But
she doesn't go somewhere where she doesn't know what to wear.
No. Okay, let's also talk about the car right there. So she's in the car.
Oh,
she's wearing the white dress. You know, it's just a Sunday. You're just out on the drive in your white dress. And then Louis calls, and he's talking about invitations to some event that we can't quite understand.
We don't know what it is.
Let's say it's an after-wedding party or something. Like maybe it's like the brunch afterward. You're all getting together or something. He says, so we're inviting like Dolores +1 and, you know, Rachel +1 and Danielle +1. And he's like, but we're not inviting Melissa and Joe, right?
So, it's like everybody but Melissa and Joe.
Yeah.
And he specifically says that they're not inviting Melissa and Joe by name.
Exactly.
And Teresa picks up the phone and she's like, honey, we're filming.
Yeah.
Like, so she takes him off speaker, you know, by picking up.
Right.
We're filming.
Exactly. And what that does to me is it says he doesn't know he was filming, but they can't keep saying that they're not, we want them there and they're not showing up because you just prove that that's not the case. And it also, I feel like it's kind of damning as relates to the seating arrangement issue because there was this whole discussion about where Melissa and Joe were seated way far away from the bridal party at some event. We're a little confused about. There's a lot of wedding events, and I don't think we had so many. Too many. It's not our.
Especially for a second
wheelhouse.
wedding.
Exactly. But anyway, they got seated like way to the way out in left field or something instead of being like in the
like
actual
the
batter's
box
or
something.
Yeah, exactly. They were at that the table where nobody knows anybody, and it's all like the mishmash table or something. But like, and at the table with Teresa and Louis were like his whole family.
Yeah.
And so again, she created this drama. And then she says, well, like it was just a mistake, the whole chart. But again, if now we're hearing you absolutely say they're not invited to the event after the wedding, when you don't know that they're not going to the wedding and Melissa's coming to your surprise bridal shower.
Yeah, that you're on your way to. Exactly.
You're setting up something to fail.
It wasn't even like, she couldn't even play it. She didn't even play it off as something else. Like, I'm mad about this.
Right.
It was, she got caught. She picked it up. And she's like, it was clearly a we got caught moment.
Not a like, oh, honey, you're explaining it wrong.
Yeah.
Yes, we are inviting them.
Everybody, yeah.
Yeah, she's probably, don't use this.
Yeah.
But again, I feel like, how they say there's people who just sort of want like bad things to happen because they have like a mentality of they're always the one on the losing team or whatever. I kind of feel like Teresa's spending the whole season setting Melissa and Joe up to fail. Maybe not even like on purpose, but she wants to be able to say, you're cut out of my life. It's me and Louis from here on out. Sometimes I wonder if it's like the bad memories of everything with jail and stuff. She just doesn't want to ever give that another thought. So if she cuts out everything from her life previous, she gets to start fresh. It's her, the kids, Louis against the world. Everything else started new. And like maybe she doesn't even realize she's doing that, but it's what she's doing. She's setting them up to not come to the wedding the whole season.
Do you think maybe it's just like jealousy?
Yeah, I do.
The fact that like she went to jail?
I think so.
And they're more normal? They're like a normal family?
Yeah, I kind of think so. I think she thought Melissa would come in, everything would ruin, everything would fail. She'd get to pick up the pieces for Joe, and she never got to pick up the pieces.
She'd get to be the hero, and instead she's like
he'd picked up her pieces.
Train wreck. Yeah, exactly. He put food on her table.
But did he?
Did you like that segue?
I loved that segue. It made me so happy. Let's segue into the podcast of Melissa's, it's the same name as her song, right?
On display.
On display. I love it. So they're talking on their podcast, and they say that they helped put food on the table. Now, I don't think they mean this literally.
Okay, so actually, I thought maybe they did mean it. Like, we literally brought you food. I mean, I think they meant it literally and figuratively.
Okay, I see. Like they did deliver the Domino's
we
pizza.
We kept your thing going, and we probably did bring you food or something at some point.
Right.
But I don't understand. I still don't understand the whole, they're saying they put food on the table by giving her some kind of storyline still because she was in jail.
So that's what I think it is. What happened was during that season when she went to jail, because she went first before Joe went. Mm-hmm. So Joe was still at home with the girls. And I think they wanted to keep them on the show, but they didn't have a housewife anymore. Mm-hmm. So by Melissa and Joe agreeing to be in the special and be part of, like, now you have a housewife. Mm-hmm. So you can have the special, you can have the show. Also, I'm not sure that Joe was friends enough with the other people on the cast to have storylines. So again, you need somebody to have a storyline. Like if everyone, pushes you to the side, there's no storyline. Mm-hmm. So I think the whole issue is that Melissa and Joe, even though I think things were tense then because they hated Joe. He sent their sister to jail. Yeah. Like the blame was on him. Mm-hmm. So I think that they were pissed at him, but they agreed to set that aside and still film together for the girls, for the show. Mm-hmm. And that way he could make money because clearly he's not going to get hired in a business type career.
Yes, exactly.
Real estate is out. He had a bunch of DUIs. He couldn't even drive for large parts of that. So I'm sorry, but they did need them. Yeah. And again, Teresa just won't let anybody help. And offer any thanks for that help.
Melissa was talking about at some point in the season about taking Teresa's daughter's places, to dance or something like that. And
just no, you didn't.
Yeah, I totally believe her.
Why would she say that?
Why would she make this stuff up?
I mean, maybe we shouldn't do it every Thursday, but I bet if they needed a backup, they were the backup. Mm-hmm. And that's okay too.
Okay, I gotta add this in. Yeah. So Thomas, I got him this shirt once because it was on clearance and it says, "Nobody trains to be the backup to the backup." and Thomas was like, "This shirt is so stupid." He's like, "No one trains to be the backup." Let alone the backup.
Well, that's not true in Housewives.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah. And then she acts like when she got out of jail, they weren't helpful to her. They never took her out to dinner. Yeah. Or some bizarre.
I loved that story too. They didn't, because she was single and they were a couple. There was this whole drama about that. I don't know. And then, Teresa turns around and how does she thank them? She thanks them by accusing them of sending her to jail in the first place. Which they didn't. You can't just do that. Come on.
Which I'm was she planning on saying a reason why she thought that? Also, or she just says, "You sent me to jail."
And also whether there's a reason or not, which there's not. It's total crap. But at the same time, if you do something illegal, you can't blame somebody else for showing somebody else that it was illegal. That's being mad. If you...
But they didn't even do that.
No, but they didn't even do that. It's not even they were ooh, you should look into their taxes.
Yeah,
it's
they weren't out together.
Again, she just is so mad. And she's holding so much... both anger and resentment, and I think a lot of it's regret, like you said, and jealousy.
Pit is within Teresa.
I think so too.
I feel that was really
she's
deep.
Like the Indiana Jones, that very first movie. All right, who do we think wins?
Oh, God.
Let's say from the moral high ground.
Moral high ground, obviously, Melissa.
Yeah, obviously. I actually think Melissa wins anyway. I don't understand why people are backing Teresa.
I think, I do actually think Melissa will feel better, but Teresa will always feel bad about this. Yeah. Melissa might be able to get over it.
And she also
because she was in the right.
Exactly. And because she didn't do as many things as Teresa did that are kind of things that you can't bounce back from. I also think that Melissa's more genuine. Yeah. When they're drawing, they're in that sorry, maybe we'll talk about it during the Jennifer episode, but the whole, what is it called? A bachelorette party. Hen party. There we go. In Ireland where they go to the farm, which is just okay, that's the theme you went with. But when they're drawing the timeline on the walls of that little cave in the farmhouse or whatever, and Melissa draws their family coming from Italy and the brother and the sister, and she genuinely cries about it. And I do think she was just maybe hoping that this would be a moment where they could say, "We're having a good time on the trip. Let's just come back together. Let's forget this." And Teresa just can't. And I never see those little honest moments with Teresa. No. So I think for that reason, Melissa wins.
Yeah. And I just want to understand why, but I don't think we ever will with Teresa. I don't think she knows why.
I think you're right. And maybe that's part of the problem. Because if you could understand what the root of the issue was, then you could get to it, but she can't. Mm-hmm. Obviously, they're They've already started filming the next season, and they're both on it.
Oh, did they?
I think so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I was going to say, do you think they are? But I think they are. So,
okay. Yeah, they definitely both be on it, right? Unless.
What's Teresa just going to do? Like, just refuse to talk? Like, put her hand up anytime they're filming together.
Yeah,
and be like,
what's
not talking to you, not talking to you, not talking to you.
I bet you. Do you think Louis will suddenly try to be Zen Peacemaker again?
Yes, he's going to.
He's going to try to go back to that role.
He's a big fan of that. Yeah. So Louis will come in, and like the shining, knight that he is, he'll try to connect them. The thing is, they're going to have a common enemy. So they need to have cast somebody who pisses both of them off, and I don't know who that person could be. I don't think it's from the current cast. They have to come together against something.
It's not Marge?
What blows my mind is I thought that the common something they'd come against would be Joe. Like her ex-husband Joe.
Oh,
initially.
okay. Juicy Joe. Yeah.
I'm shocked, and that makes me think like maybe that won't work.
Well, I think that won't work because of Teresa's daughter. Teresa doesn't want to do that because of her daughters.
Right. But I still think that behind the scenes, she and her brother could have been like, yes, we don't like what he did to me. We don't like that he was sent to jail. Mm-hmm. He's the bad guy, not us. Mm-hmm. And they can't do that.
Yeah.
It also feels like their relationship was real tenuous because it fell apart the second the parents were gone. Yeah. So it's like, was it just the parents holding them together? Maybe.
But even then, they still think of their parents so much that I feel like even if their parents died, they should still be together.
Like, I don't think that's it.
I don't think it's like the parents died and they're like, oh, whatever.
Yeah, I think you're right.
We're done.
That's interesting. All right, well, that's the beginning of our Jersey episodes. We've kind of like laid out where we stand on the big Melissa, Teresa. See, Melissa. That's their celebrity name, Melissa Teresa. Debate, and then we'll go from here and kind of branch out into all the other ladies as well.
Oh, also, we're going to be at BravoCon.
We're going to be at BravoCon. Come find us.
Yeah.
Not in a creepy way.
Yeah. Message us so we can decide if we want you to find us.
Now we're just judging random people.
Yeah, I know. You should be happy for anyone that messages
and
you.
We are.
We are faithful.
All right, remember, Housewives bring the drama.
And we bring the receipts.
Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, please hit the subscribe button. If you'd like to help support us, please share it with others and leave a rating and review. Also, visit us on Instagram and Twitter, both at RH_on_RH for fun pictures and polls, or email us at rhonrhpodcast@gmail.com. Thanks again, and remember to stay out of the shade.